Welcome everyone to the first episode in the tried and true EDC Knife Chat series. Um, this is me really just taking the opportunity to go talk about different things about the knife hobby. Specifically in this episode, I'm gonna go over my CRK collection, Chris Reeve Knives, um, and really just why I choose Chris Reeve knives, why I have them in my collection, why you see 11 different knives from Chris Reeve. And really, yeah, just kind of have a discussion about it. I always welcome comments on all my videos, all my shorts. But specifically for this series, the Knife Chat series, I really wanted to make it more of a discussion amongst the community. Drop your comments at any time. Really just that way this community continues to grow with knowledge. For me, I've only started this channel about 3.5 months ago, about almost 4 months now, and it's every day is a learning process for me. There's always new knives coming out, but really just to focus on what's this episode is about is going to be strictly Chris Reeve. Before we begin, I do have some scotch, and this is a Lagavulin 16 year. I'm really only familiar with the 16 years, so scotch, you say? Don't mind if I do. All right. Now, the very first video I've ever dropped on this channel is on Chris Reeve Sebenza 31. Why do I like Chris Reeve? It's not relative to different budgets that everyone has, Chris Reeve knives run anywhere from, let's say, if you're looking at like a small, either an Inkosi or a Sebenza 31, you're looking at about $425 for the base model. And if you go up to a large, it can hover depending on how exclusive or limited it is. It can go up to $700-ish. They have unique graphic ones, which I don't have here in my collection, but those run up, I think the last time I saw was around $750. So certainly not a price point. I would say majority of people who, that a lot of people, that's a lot of money, right? For myself, it's a lot of money. It's not something I spend lightly. Might be contradicting to how many knives you see from Chris Reeve that's in front of you. But I enjoyed how simplistic their designs are, yet has an element of elegance, functionality. There's so much going on for their knives, and they have such a great reputation, I would say. If you go online, you can probably find some debate about how the Chris Reeve started the company with his wife, the designs he did, the tension when he was still part of the business until, I don't know how many years ago that's changed, maybe 3 to 5 years. Anyone knows better, please drop that in a comment, let me know, and, just get that information accurate. I'm just going off the top of my head. I haven't really looked at any specific research prior to this video. But I know things have changed at that company, but overall their designs are still very well liked in the community, I would say. And there's just so much going on for their knives. That one big factor, which I called out in my original video, that touched on the Sebenza 31, which is this one right here, is that they have a great warranty, right? They have what they call the spa service, so you can bring back almost the original state of your knife. If you get some scratches on the blade, you could replace the blade, but they will sharpen it up for you. They'll reblast handles. There's certain exceptions on certain inlays I've heard that they can't really remove. I could be wrong. Again, if you know better, please chime in and let us know. But from my understanding, I believe they're able to remove the micarta scales to reblast the handle. But I believe I read somewhere that with the wood inlays, such as the box elder burl, that is a different discussion about whether or not they can do a full reblasting. They offer a lot of services, and really, as long as you don't lose your knife, a Chris Reeve it's an heirloom quality knife that you'll be able to pass down generation to generation, as long as the company stays in business, I suppose. I don't foresee that changing. They've been going strong for over 40 years, I believe. From my recollection, 1981 is when Chris Reeve started making knives. Chris Reeve is from South Africa originally, but they are based out of Idaho now. So, anyways, I'm gonna kind of jump right in. I've kind of touched on why I picked Chris Reeve knives. I'm gonna go through my collection, kind of give a little history about it, and yeah, if you at any time, drop a comment if you have any questions about anything. I will make sure I chapter everything out. So if you're just interested in any specific models, you can just jump to that portion of the video. All right, with no further ado, let me get a sip of my scotch. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Whew. All right, so this is the small Inkosi. I picked this up in late November of 2016. And this is the very first Chris Reeve knife I ever bought. I bought it secondhand, so it was off Blade Forums. And when I got it, it was $330, which at that time, I believe these were going for $375 new. However, throughout the entire time I've been into Chris Reeve knives, their knives sell out pretty quickly. They drop a bunch of, they'll send batches to all their authorized retailers, as well, I'm sure, as well as brick and mortars. So my only experiences with online retailers, they do sell out Chris Reeve knives pretty quickly. Anyway, so this, I got used for $330. I really like it. I still have it. So I don't carry as much anymore because I do prefer larger knives. But just from the top of my recollection, I believe this is right around 3 inches or slightly under 3 inches for the cutting edge. I mean, I do have measuring tapes. I could validate that, and might as well. So if you're really looking at it, it's about 2 and 7/8, 7 inch. No, less than 2 1/4, 2 3/4 of an inch. It's less than 2 3/4 of an inch. Based on what I'm seeing there, unless the scotch is already kicking in. When I got it, there was some snail trails, which kind of just refers to some markings on the handle. But I went and sent it in to Chris Reeve to get a spa treatment. They sharpened it up for me, and they also reblasted the handle. But since then, I have carried it, so a lot of those snail trails have gone back onto this knife. But this is my very first Chris Reeve. I don't foresee it leaving my collection anytime soon. Just it's kind of the flagship knife that got me into Chris Reeve knives. So this is again a small Inkosi. You could kind of refer to it as a plain Jane because there's no inlays. It's just titanium slabs on both sides. This is still using S35VN for the steel. All right, the next one I have, I'm actually going in order of when I acquired each of these. And this might sound silly, but I do keep a catalog of all the knives in my collection. So every time I buy a knife, I have a spreadsheet I track everything on. So I'm able to look through when I purchase these knives. And that's how I'm able to put them in chronological order. So this one is a large Sebenza 21. These are no longer being manufactured. You can still find these on the secondary market. Blade Forums is my preferred platform for used knives. That's just, I got used to it. Blade Forums is kind of where I spent a lot of time. Not as much anymore, but acquire a lot of great knowledge, met a lot of great people in the community. But this is actually a KnivesShipFree exclusive. and it uses a red linen micarta for the inlay. So they got one piece on the back, two on the front. Sebenza 21s are most recognizable with the hole right here on the show side scale, as well as there is no ceramic ball, which is also the D10 ball on the new Sebenza 31s. So this contacts the frame, slab, the titanium slab directly rather than the ceramic ball for the 31s. Those are the most recognizable differences for me. I picked this one up in March of 2020. Got this for $475, and during that time, one of these would have went for $550. They're still releasing these exclusives on KnivesShipFree, and I believe they're probably running around $600 now. So it's about a $50 increase. Not entirely sure when that went up. A couple years ago, at least, I believe. So the next one I acquired is a Sebenza 31 with a natural canvas micarta right here. And you can tell how the difference of the micarta inlays or the design of it changed from the 21 to the 31. I got this from a great buddy of mine. He is a close friend. Interesting enough, him and I have never technically met. We've only exchanged communications on Blade forums via their chat feature on certain threads that we were commenting. Yeah, he lives in Florida. Good buddy of mine, Seth. He sold this to me because I wanted to get one. This is actually close to when the 31 first came out. I'm gonna move this aside so I don't chip my edges. Oh, excuse me. I have a very, I want to, flimsy might not be the right word, but it's to hold my phone when I do these videos, and it can easily be shaken. So anyways, this is also on S35VN. Yep. And he gave me a great deal. He had just gone in, which would have been $550 at that time, but he sold it to me late May of 2020 for $450. And out of all the Chris Reeve knives you see here, this one has the best action out of all of them. And really, I had to do nothing with it. He took off the lanyard, and so you'll notice none of these have the lanyard on there, and most of them have the lanyard pin removed, especially if it's a Sebenza 21 or 31. The lanyard pin comes off with the lanyard, or you can leave the lanyard pin in there. I take it out because it rattles, but you can also remedy that with some type of grease. But yeah, I kept this in my collection since I got it from him, and I consider this a valuable piece in the sense it's more through the friendship built between Seth and I. So that is the 31 with the canvas micarta. All right, the next one on my list is a large Inkosi. I picked this up in early March of 2021 for $556. This, it should be $550. The $595 additional was for tax, so $555.95. And I got this directly from Wilson Combat. Now, this Starburst design, which also you can see that's their logo on the clip, is unique and exclusive to Wilson Combat. However, they actually discontinued. I don't know if their contract with Chris Reeve ended, but as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell, they are no longer making this exclusive for Wilson Combat. Wilson Combat, for me, I recognize them as popular in the grips, I believe, for gun grips. Not going to speak too much more about it because I'm sure they do other things. That's just what I'm familiar with. But this is another piece of my collection I don't think I'll really ever get rid of. For one, they're hard to come by, and yeah, they actually go for quite a bit on the secondary market now. I don't really buy knives to resell, and if I do, I usually take a loss just because it's either a model that I no longer like, or I'm trying to raise funds for a different knife. But this one's a beauty. This is also an S35VN. Again, they didn't really start making S45VN until when I would say closer towards the end of 2021, maybe sometime in 2021. But a very unique piece of my collection. Large Inkosi Wilson Combat CAD custom exclusive. A lot of wording to that, but the next one I acquired is the Sebenza 31, large 31, and this has the box elder burrow wood inlays. And what's unique about the wood inlays, at least for the box elder, is that it's unlikely you'll ever find two of the same type of inlay design. Just having that being a part of the natural properties of wood, they're typically different. So it's kind of cool because whichever one you pick up, you can be assured that's going to be pretty unique. This one on the back has a bit of a red tint to this inlay, as you can see right here. I got this one in early September of 2021, and I picked this one up for kind of a premium, I guess. This was $605. If you get the new ones now, which have the Magna Cut blade, they're running closer to $650. At least that's what I have documented on my spreadsheet, because I do update based on what's the current retail or map price. This one does have the glass blasting, so as you can tell, there's a difference between what I reference these as a sandblasted. Some say it's sandblasted or bee blasted, but it has a bit of a rougher texture. I like it though. It's just different. But the glass blasting does hide wear better than I'm just going to refer to this one as a sandblasted finish. A buddy of mine who has loaned me a lot of knives for the content I have on my channel, Wes, he has a glass blasted Blade HQ exclusive, the one with the carbon fiber inlay, and he's had it for quite a bit, and he carries it practically every day, and you can barely see any of the wear on it. Specifically, the wear I'm referring to is like snail trails, like you rub against something and you'll get these lines or marks on your handle. This one also has a gold anodized thumb stud, and it's a single thumb stud. And with the Sebenza 31s, I'm going to refer to the 31s strictly because 21s are no longer being produced. But with the 31s, you can have the option of having dual thumb studs. So I like the single thumb stud only because I rarely find myself opening my knife with my left hand. I have plenty of other knives that kind of gives me that option, especially my Spydercos. But yeah, again, I'm a right-handed knife user, so single thumb stud just kind of gives it a cleaner look for me, my opinion. But that's the large 31 with the box elder burl. Next up is the large 31, and this is also this one was an S45VN, by the way. That's this deal. That's their new standard from S35 to S45, but then nowadays everything's a Magna Cut, as far as I know. That, or you can get Damascus for the blade. I did do a full review on this. This was the very first video on my channel is on this knife. And I believe in that video, I told a story about how during a Thanksgiving with my wife's family, there wasn't really a sharp knife in the kitchen, and they were hosting Thanksgiving, so we're all there, and I had this knife on me, and I ended up carving the entire turkey with this knife. So I am proud to say that a Chris Reeve knife can really tackle a lot of different tasks. I mean, if you have a turkey in front of you, no sharp knives, and this is what's in your pocket, feel rest assured that you will get the job done. I picked this one up early 2022, and this was $480. So this was their introductory into the glass blasted finish. I've had this for quite a bit, as you can tell by the date I just gave you. So over almost 2.5 years. Though I don't carry it on a daily basis, it has a very clean and almost new look to it. There's a couple noticeable areas are shiny spots, which I would consider those to be areas of wear or your snail trail. I really like this knife. It's another what I would consider a plain Jane, but again, with the price point at $480, that $30 above what would have been $450 for a plain Jane model that had the sandblasted finish, is they were only upcharging $30 for the glass blasted finish. I believe now the glass blasted finish is a $50 upcharge, and either you will notice that in the price when you see one released on a online retailer, or if you want to get that service done on your knife, just that you can send in for, that I recollect that being a $50 upcharge now. Next one I got is the large Inkosi. This is the KnifeArt exclusive. So Blade HQ has an exclusive where they do the inlay in carbon fiber. So if you can imagine this being carbon fiber, this being carbon fiber, that's basically your Blade HQ exclusive. This one is in as well as 45VN. KnifeArt still puts these out. They might even have some that's available right now on their website, but they have it in Magna Cut steel. So they do have the new steel that's running on these models now. I picked this one up in middle of 2022 for $575. I want to say they're at least $600 now, maybe higher. I haven't checked in a while, but this has this sandblasted finish on the lock side and the full carbon fiber scale on the show side. I've always thought these to be really neat. What really turned me on to these, not specifically this one with a full carbon fiber scale, but Advanced Knife Bro. First time I saw, I believe his first Sebenza was the one with the carbon fiber inlay from Blade HQ, and ever since then, like, I was like, oh, I want to get one with the carbon fiber scale. So I did opt for this one. Every once in a while I'll see the Blade HQ exclusive pop up for sale, and I'm always itching to get one of those as well, but it's not easy trying to resist that you're trying to collect. Not so much trying to collect, but you end up collecting, because clearly this is not a collection, right? You don't just go and buy the same model in a different variation. Functionality doesn't change that much from this particular Inkosi to this Inkosi, other than the blade shape. So it does end up being a collection of knives. Okay, let's see. The next one I picked up was the Umnumzaan. By the way, I do have a video of this as well. I'm going to post links to all my prior videos that touches on any of these models in this video. I also have one on this as well. So this is a Chris Reeve Umnumzaan, and this only comes in one size, which is comparatively the same as a large Sebenza or a large Inkosi, in terms of size at least. It might differ a bit. I'm not saying exactly measurements will be the same, but it's relatively would be a large if you were to compare the two. This one I picked up in late August of 2023 and picked this up for $500. And this does have the Magna Cut blade steel. So this is one of the newer releases. Umnumzaan sells out incredibly fast. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to take a sip real quick. I I think I tend to prefer my Sebenza and Inkosis more than this Umnumzaan. I'm not sure if it's just the allure. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure there's a lot of usage behind people with the Umnumzaan. That's why this thing flies off the shelf. I don't think I've ever seen this in stock for more than a day, if that. And if it is in stock for more than a day, it's probably from an online retailer that either didn't have a marketing Google shopping ad for it. So as you searched it, it didn't pop up. But I ended up getting this from Yale Cutlery, and actually ended up buying one for my brother-in-law. I told him about it, and I picked him up one as well. But on any given day, you can find these on, well, not any given day, but when you see these pop up on the secondary market, they're typically not under the $500 mark, even after it's been carried and used. So these, not just this knife, but in general, Chris Reeve knives have great resale value. That's another plus. This hobby is not, I would not recommend this hobby being something you invest money in to try to make money from. Unless you're strictly concentrated on very limited, highly in demand knives. But I feel like that would just be too exhausting. As I started getting on Instagram, I noticed there's people that have tons of the Oz Company Roosevelts, and that's awesome. They're all great knives, and the Rosie's one of my favorite knives. And I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but I'm just saying it's do it because if you're going to be in this hobby, do it for the love of it. Do it for the love of knives. I personally wouldn't recommend doing it to make a buck off of, because that's it's challenging because designs will change. I think Chris Reeve is one of the very few knife brands out there that won't really uh, change. They've had a great reputation, continue to have a solid reputation, continue to put out very solid knives. So um, next one I got is a pretty special one. So this is from GP Knives. This is, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing this, but this is Sapele Mahagony, Sapele Mahagony. This was $725. Now, this is before tax, and yeah, primarily tax. And I live in California, so the tax is quite high here. I ended up paying a total of $788 and some change after taxes, which is another thing. As a pro tip, I'm sure this is self-explanatory. I personally try to buy from online retailers that don't charge tax. And obviously there are, government rules and regulations about what threshold of sales that you do and revenue that makes it so you have to file taxes and claim taxes for every state you sell to. I believe we can thank Wayfair for that. I believe that's how it all started. Wayfair or Amazon. But anywho, that's me getting off topic again. So the annual. This is an annual. Chris Reeve, this is a large 31 annual. So the annuals, from my understanding, are models that are very unique in a sense. They use unique wood inlays. That's put out once a year. Now, they haven't put out an annual for quite a while. And so when 2023 came around and GP Knives dropped this actually came out, October of 2023 is when I picked this up. So sounds like GP Knives contracted with Chris Reeve exclusively to come out with this annual. Flew off the shelves as well. Actually, it stayed around a little bit longer than I thought. I mean, given the price point, that's not, it's again, when I was talking at the beginning of this video about the price range that this Sebenza's or Chris Reeve knives are in, this is towards the high end of that range. Close to $800 after taxes. Like, it's a lot of money when you can just buy a micarta version of the same knife. Even with mag cut, this right now would be around, I think, $600, as I believe I mentioned. But you know, you get a unique wood inlay. It's no longer being produced. It's kind of a one run and done type deal. This has interesting because it's polished, and it's almost like a satin polished finish, and it does have the B glass blasted lock bar as well as the pocket clip. This does have the magnet cut steel, and it's also a polished grind on this with is that, yeah, polished grind with stonewash flats right here. So a very unique piece. I Yeah, really, when I saw it pop up, because I know I've read about annuals, and if you follow Chris Reeve Knives, and just know that annuals from back in the days are worth a lot of money, just because they're so sought after in that sense. But I decided when I saw this, I was like, oh, might as well pick one up. It is unique in terms of the wood inlay. I've never seen this Sapele mahogany before, so. The next one is it's a large and cozy. This one is the Prometheus Design Works exclusive. They have two exclusive. They have one that has fullers, so it's basically a bead blast handle, and towards the end right here, there's three lines, I believe. It's kind of like the fullered model. This is their wave pattern, and you can see that Kraken is an exclusive insignia for Prometheus Design Works, at least with the models of either clothing patches. I don't know if this is on their website. I believe it might be. I can't, from the top of my head, I can't quite recall, but I do know that's a kind of representative of PDW, short for Prometheus Design Works. This is their wave pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've been trying to chase one of these down for a while. I ended up picking this up in same month that I picked up this one. So this was October 13th, 2023 is when I got this one. And this was released for $665, but after taxes, and they might have charged shipping. So it came out to about $730, slightly over $730 for this one. This is another one that has a high resale value. I've seen these go upwards of $850, $900, so it's up there. This is really hard to find. Well, no, it's not hard to find because you can get notified if you follow PDW on Instagram, or just sign up for their email notification. You know what? Do the Instagram route, because email notifications, it's kind of late unless you have push notifications turned on for your email and you have a good reception, signal, Wi-Fi connection. Usually the email notification comes a little bit late, because what happens with PDW drops is that they shut down their website for 10 to 15 minutes prior to the drop, and usually it drops on at noon. And the most common ones I know of, it's either on a Wednesday or a Friday. Probably more common on a Wednesday. They'll do a noon drop, and when I say noon, that's Pacific Standard Time. And they will, the server, their website goes down for 10, 15 minutes, so you can't even log in. So signing up for their Instagram notifications would be useful if you were trying to pick one of these up, because then you can set the timing correctly, make sure you're logged into your account, and as soon as that hits 12 p.m. on the dot, you can refresh and try to score one of these. I've tried to grab one of their knives for a while, and I was quite surprised when I finally got this. But this also has the magnet cut steel. It's got the sandblasted lock side. This has blue anodized thumb studs. Yep. And so another great piece. And lastly, another knife I've done a video on, I believe, is the large Sebenza 31, and this is the River's Edge Cutlery exclusive, REC, and it is the Spartan helmet. And this one has a glass blasted finish all around outside of the etching of Molan Labe and the helmet. Also done a neat little helmet on the pocket clip. This one also is in Magna Cut right now. So this is the drop point. Most of mine are either drop point or Insingo. Only the Umnumzaan is in a Tonto blade shape. But yeah, I picked this one up mid-December of 2023. This was $650. No tax from REC, which is awesome. But this goes as far as their exclusive contract with Chris Reeve. So if you like the helmet, and you know, if this phrase means something to you, you know, this is kind of cool. Excuse me. Yeah, so that concludes my collection of Chris Reeve knives. Again, anyone that has any questions, any comments, please feel free to post. I highly encourage you. I'm completely open to it in any given video, but for this knife chat series, I really encourage everyone that's watching it to post something, if any thoughts they have. I am trying not to pick up any more Chris Reeve knives, not because I don't want to, just because, you know, I feel like I have enough in my collection. I don't know if anyone would agree or disagree. I would assume most people would think this is kind of overkill in terms of how many Chris Reeve knives I have. But it really, truly is one of my favorite knife brands. You know, these are production models in essence, right? But there's a lot of thought. The fit and finish is really well done. They're easy to maintain for the most part. You know, they even provide you the tools to take it apart. So, you know, there's a lot of great things about Chris Reeve, about its knives. The company, for me, as far as I'm concerned, has a good reputation, a positive reputation. So, you know, if you've ever in doubt about picking one up, know that if you invest that $500-600 into one, you're very likely to have it for the rest of your life, as long as you don't lose it. And if you end up not wanting it anymore, if it's just not yours, it's not a good fit for you, you can easily resell it. And if you do lose any money, it's probably less than 10%. So that's a pretty good return, considering this hobby. A lot of knives, as soon as you get a new one, you're probably losing anywhere from, you know, 10 to 20%, 25%, depending on the model, depending on the company. But Chris Reeve has a good reputation in such a way that you're likely to retain a lot of value from their knives. I know this was a long video. I haven't seen how long this, you know, the way my stand holds my phone, you can't even tell. Usually you can see on the phone how long this video has been going, but I'm assuming it's been going 20 something minutes long. I doubt anyone sat here and watched all 20 minutes, but if you did, I truly appreciate it. Again, I really encourage everyone to post comments and any questions they have. I will certainly do my best to answer. If I've said anything that was incorrect in this video, I would encourage you to chime in and, you know, post something about it. Hopefully you're nice about it. You know, this is the internet. You can say whatever you want, but I do hope that I try to keep this to be a positive experience, especially I feel like this community is really strong. Again, this is the knife chat series. I plan to put out more videos in this series that really just has more of a robust discussion. I know it's not in real time because it's not live, but, you know, at least having that back and forth with the community and people that support this channel. The next one, I'm planning to do one that talks about detent, frame locks, just a lot of ideas in my head. But if you have something that you would like to kind of have a discussion about, or at least have me talk on it, feel free to post that in the comments and let me know. I would be happy to take that on as a topic. I want Knife Chat series to open up to discussions all over the place. A lot of my videos are focused on one knife, and it's, you know, I have a lot of knives, so I don't foresee that content being diminished or limited anytime soon, but I wanted to kind of do something different. Again, if you've sat through this whole video, really appreciate your time. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. This video will probably drop early July, so I do want to wish everyone happy 4th of July when that approaches. Stay safe. In California, it's super hot right now. It's actually super hot everywhere in the world, so make sure you stay safe and put on the sunblock, and make sure you take care of yourself. But other than that, again, appreciate it. Be good and have a good day. Stay frosty.